Go ahead.
Okay, I think if we're gonna have this conversation in good faith, we need to first start off and stop saying that other communities do not do what she's saying they do. I can give you one name that made Kevin Samuels look like a preacher kid that another man of another race do to the women in their race. So we need to get off this notion of, oh, the other races don't do it. It's easy to say that the music is loud when you live in the house. Basically what that means is it's easy to say that that's all black men do when you're in that community, when you're not doing the research to see outside of the community. If we're going to do that, you need to have the good faith enough to do the research in order to see it. Okay, I'm going to say that. And I'm also going to say this, that I don't want to call Umar hypocritical, but he's hypocritical. I mean, look at the situation he's in. We're not going to go into depths into that. But I am going to say this. I do agree with Noble when it comes to this, that you cannot lay this at every black man's feet that decides to do something. A lot of people look at it, and I'll go with Noble's example of LeBron James. Let's throw out what he does on the court. Let's throw out that he was a high school, middle school phenom. We're talking about his character as a man. He's a great father, a damn good father. He's a damn good husband. He's all that. Those characteristics was not made with money. Those characteristics not made with fame. Those characteristics was due to his foundation. His foundation. And if anybody look at his documentary or look at anything that he talks about, him and his mama say, hey, the first thing that she did, since she knew that she was a single mother, that she got him around productive men of society.
Facts.
Great, that's perfect. And this is what I question our community. Are our women doing that? Are single mothers doing that? I will argue no, because you can't sit here and get mad at the Pookies and the Ray Rays and say, oh man, I'm tired of these men are only in the community because black men are not calling them out. We cannot hold black men accountable that black women reward. A Noble, and if you don't mind, I'm gonna use that as an example. Say like if Noble's being a Pookie and a Ray Ray, and I say, hey Noble, bro, these women don't like you just screwing them and not taking them out, not getting to know them. They don't like that. And then the next day he pulls up with another woman. And the next day he pulls up with another woman. That looks batshit stupid on my behalf to tell him that women don't want that when they're giving them access to him. And that's what they want. But
I
we need
think
to
it's
Hold on,
what
going over
we
Queen.
your
Hold on, Queen.
head.
Please
what we need to
interrupt.
understand what's happening right now. What we need to understand what's happening right now is a shift. And I guarantee you may not see the shift now, but you're gonna see it in the next few years. Black men are pulling themselves up. I don't care how you say it, as a whole. I'm not talking about all of us, but as a majority, black men are pulling ourselves up. And I'll say that because 33% of college enrollment is up 33% with black men. Graduation is up with black men. Black men are making more money than what they ever made. Black men are involved in the fathers. We see the stats in the CDC. We are the most single fathers. We are pulling ourselves up. So what's happening is many people see this, including Dr. Umar, including the women. So many women are seeing this, and Dr. Umar is seeing this. So now they're trying to say, hey, look, if you think you're a productive black man, you will go ahead and help these women who made these terrible decisions. You will help them. And if you don't help them, you ain't a good black man. And instead of black women coming to black men, coming to the table and saying, hey, look, we need help with this, and we're willing to follow your leadership when it comes to this. They think that they can shame black men into helping them. And that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. Black men, half of black men don't even have children. So I know for a fact that this is happening. So what they're doing is they're saying, hey, look, we know that black men are pulling themselves up by the boot. I hate saying that though. Black men are actually making strides in society. 63% of black businesses are owned by black men. It's happening. You may not see it this year and you may not see it next year, but I guarantee you're going to see it in the next few years of black men making progress. Now, with that being said, if they want black men's help, they have to start being products of their own success. And that starts with admitting, say, hey, look, we made a mistake. And Umar said it himself. Black women has been the goats of the community for the last 50 years. That's what they say. And now look at the product. Look at the product that's out here. But apparently now even that's not their problem for doing it. You talk about infrastructure, Queen. You talk about we don't have money. In that same interview, he told you that over $30 billion worth of fake aesthetics come out of our community. How in the hell we don't have money to build this stuff? We're not doing it. We're not doing it because we spend our money on bullshit, and that's true. We spend our money on bullshit. And to say that productive members of society like Noble and the rest of the men that's doing this, that they owe some sort of obligation to the women who they want the community now, but where was them asking the community, can they have the child? Where was they asking the community when they was having that child? They wasn't. Now that the child is a non-productive member of society, now they want to say, oh, the reason why he like that is because black men are not doing what they're supposed to do in the community. And then he's not really talking about us as if we ruined the community, the Nobles, the me, whoever's in my age bracket. They're not talking about us. They're talking about what our fathers did. Because the men of the community, the Pookies and the Ray Rays, are not our sons. I mean, I don't know about nobody else, but it would be impossible for me to have the 18-year-old and all that and that type of age bracket, type of men. And we need to talk about that. Women, if you want black men help, black women, if you want black men help, it starts with an apology. It starts with a admission of guilt. And it starts with, hey, look, I'm going to sit this one out because we tried it. We tried it to do it without you. Now we need your help. Now we need your help. And if women as a whole can't do that, hey, you can continue fight with your choices.
No, 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 no,
Go
no,
ahead, go
no,
ahead, Queen. You're a
Clyde.
woman. I want you to
Like,
respond
Clyde,
to what he
with
just
all
said.
due respect, sir, your talking points are very extremist. And what I want to tell you is black women did not kick black men out. The system did that. So we do need you. And I'm telling you this right now. I do appreciate every black man that is doing their
You
contributions
said it
in
was the
our every,
extremists?
huh?
You said they didn't? I mean, ma'am,
No,
have you seen the documentary Hidden Colors? Black women admitted that they did it. They admitted to it. They
okay,
said they
I'm
did it.
speaking on as a whole because I'm not just speaking on the documentary. I'm speaking as a whole. The system is what led to black men not being present. Now, maybe today in 2022, the city girls up one and up two, however y'all like to say it. But I'm saying as a contribution, as far as everything as a whole, we're speaking as a collective. We're not speaking individually. So that system did that. Mass incarceration did that. School to prison pipelines did that. Redlining did that. Black women didn't say, hey, I don't need black men. That's not what happened. We do need you. And like I said, if you guys get off the internet, y'all will see that. People are not in real life. We don't have these kind of conversations in real life. These are only conversations we have on here when we get on here. Because in real life, like you just said, black men are present in the households. Black men are taking care of their children. I just took my kid to the pediatrician. I seen two black men holding their twins, literally multiple black men some of the women wasn't even there. So it's like, I don't know, like maybe we people need to get out and actually go out because a lot of the stuff that you're saying is not true. Like it's just not true.
Like
Like the
what? Can you
system,
tell me some things that's not true? I'm listening.
you're
What's
saying
not true?
you're saying that we need to apologize and that we're
I
kicking
said, if you want black men to help you in your decision making about when it comes to your children, you're gonna have to apologize to black men and say, "Hey, look, we do need
what
your
are
help," because we
what
are
are
not
we
gonna sit here and
apologizing
act like
for?
black women have not said they don't want a man, they don't need a man, and we don't need you.
They was talking about,
If
I'm pretty sure
you
they was talking about
believe
more so
that,
financially than anything. Financially, because of black women are
man.
allowed to
That's
work and
part of
have
the
their own
problem.
jobs.
Financially, if you think the problem is just financial, that's part of the problem. Do you know the things that black men teach their children? What men in general? I won't make it black. Do you know what men teach their children? One of the biggest one is structure, and that's why a lot of these kids don't have it. It's called structure. They don't have it. Women think
Yes,
they can
that's
teach it.
true.
They cannot.
That's correct, but that's what he was going back to in the video. You guys keep on talking about the men as they're adults now, going back to the fact that they were children once upon a time. So at the end of the day, like why again, you keep saying women need to apologize. Women don't have anything to apologize about. It starts with the community. You think these couples, a lot of these men who have two-parent households still come out to be crazy and still come out to be mentally disturbed. It starts with upstanding black men who are mentally stable. We don't want to talk about that too. A big issue is mental disability in our community as well. People are not stable-minded. People grow up in toxic households, whether they grow up single mothers or two-parent households. So that's another thing too. We don't give our community enough grace. People are doing the best that they can, man and woman. People are doing the best that they can do. You think someone would intentionally go and be being abused or intentionally go and put themselves in these horrible predicaments. Life happens to people, but at the end of the day, to say that black women need to apologize, they don't have anything to apologize about, because at the end of the day, they didn't lay there and had a baby by themselves. So that's another thing. Y'all
Okay,
talk
they
about women
didn't.
being on.
So that means they need to task that man. Umar wasn't talking about that man. He was talking about he said it.
But
He
it's not.
said the
Go ahead.
upstanding members of society. He said it himself that they need to come in and help because and then he said, "Oh, Pookie and Ray Ray only exist because these men are not coming back," which is false. Once again, I can't hold a man accountable that y'all reward. If y'all don't want the futures and the NBA young boys and the Nick Cannons, stop having children by them.
But you keep running away from the issue. You keep talking about adults. Go back to the children who did not even ask to be here. Why would you not want to help out a 10-year-old or 11-year-old boy you see on the street
And
struggling? Why
and
would you not
that's
extend
the
that
problem.
hand?
You can help out that 10-year, 11-year-old, but what if the mama come in and say, "Leave my child alone,"
You keep
like
on
they
saying what
always do?
if.
Don't
There ain't
say
no
nothing
what
to my
if.
child. So that's not a thing.
I'm not saying
Don't
it's
say no.
not. I'm not
Hey,
saying it's
I do
not,
a
Mr.
little
Clyde.
part-time
Mr.
work in the
Clyde, all
schools
I'm
too,
saying is,
and I'll tell you the first thing when these parents come to me and I tell them about their child's grades. "Oh, why you didn't tell me earlier? Oh, you can't tell my child nothing. Oh, why your child not in uniform? Oh, don't you got better stuff to do than worry about why my child not in uniform?"
but I think the disconnect is where people are not realizing that everybody has a hand in a society. Women have a hand in society. Men have a hand in society. At that restaurant, you need a cashier, you need a manager, you need a cook. We all have our roles to contribute to society. So to say that we need to like get behind y'all, we don't need to get behind y'all. We need to stand beside each other and work together. That's the whole thing. A lot of black men who do get become like the nobles and the Clydes. Y'all feel as though a woman needs to shut up and keep silence while a lot of things y'all doing just be clearly wrong. Let's talk about the
Shut up
misogyny.
and keep silence.
Like let's talk about the misogyny that goes into patriarchy and men who do have money and men who do get where they need to be at. A lot of y'all think a woman needs to be quiet, be your eye candy, and be behind you as if we're less than, as if we're not enough, or as if you guys are above us because you guys are contributing financially or being upstanding people in society. You still have to be kind to people.
And
You still have
there's
to
the
be nice.
problem right there. There's the problem right there. Every time someone's saying let someone take the lead on something, the first thing y'all equate it to is, "Oh, y'all in the back seat." Do you realize, just like you said, there's different roles. If I'm good at a certain role, yes, take the back and let me handle it. Men provide structure. We already proved that women can't do it. We saw it already. We had 50 years of it, according to y'all. Y'all couldn't do it. So now let the men step in and do it.
That's not
That's
true,
the
sir. That's
problem.
not
Y'all
true.
need to. And then you want to talk about misogyny? Let's talk about misandry. Let's talk about black women talking about I'm unalive black male babies. Since we want to talk about the children,
That's
where are
on
you
both
on that?
ends,
Where
Mr.
are
Clyde.
you
That's
on
on
that?
both ends. We
No,
both.
no, no. You only brought up misogyny and misogyny war. You said nothing about misandry.
I'm
Nothing about.
I'm saying I just literally said that's on both ends. There's the clearly misandry that exists online, and there's clearly a red pill manosphere that exists online as well. It's on both ends. I'm not saying that you guys are to blame for everything, and I'm not saying women are to blame for everything. I'm saying that you guys are saying that y'all are leaders, but y'all are not leading. What are
But I'm
y'all
letting you.
leading?
But I'm letting you know, and I want to let the world to know this. When black men now are saying that they're leaders, they're not talking about the community as a whole. They're talking about their households because the community as a whole don't listen. We can't sit here and say black men are leaders and then say black women can do whatever the hell they want to do. No, you're not gonna do that. I am so sick and tired of black women thinking, "Oh, that you guys want us to be the leaders when it's time to clean up y'all fuck ups. Oh, y'all want us to be the leaders when it's time for us to take care of the children that y'all had out of wedlock or had against Pookie and Ray Ray." It's crazy.
But you keep
This
you
is
keep
when
talking
y'all
about
want
the
us to be leaders.
outcome.
Y'all don't want us to be leaders when we tell y'all stop having sex with Pookie and Ray Ray. Y'all don't want us to be leaders when we say marry before you carry. Y'all don't want us to be leaders when it's time for y'all to have some sort of role in the household or even role outside the household. Y'all want to talk about children? Let's talk about the abuse that women put on these children. Let's talk about the verbal abuse. Let's talk about the physical abuse. Let's talk about how black
Oh
kids,
my
black
goodness.
boys can't even talk about the abuse that their mother did to them because the first thing that comes out of people's mouth is, "Oh, where was the father?
And
Where
where
was the
is he?
father?"
That's what I'm saying. You're not speaking on that. You just keep on saying black women. You're pointing the finger. You're literally doing what he's talking about. If
Because
you're
when
contributing in
when are women going to
society,
be held accountable for the things that they
women
do
are.
to
You're literally
children?
holding them accountable right now. You're holding them accountable right now. When did that? You're
So why
saying
are
y'all
you
are
questioning
saying
about what am I
closure
talking about then?
because you're. It's going back to you. It's going over you guys' head. He's talking about the children. Is anybody forgetting about the kids? Y'all ever
No,
heard that?
no,
What about
no,
the
no,
kids?
because we're not gonna sit here and gloss over our issues, and this is why we have the type of stuff that we are doing right now. Gloss over the issues. We're gonna go straight to children. No, you cannot. Toxic fruit comes from toxic roots. So if you only talking about let's talk to children, no, you have to address the issue because let's say I mentor this kid for 8 hours out of the day, he still got to go 16 hours home to them parents. So what I do in those 8 hours mean shit
No,
diddly
that's not
if
true.
he
Because I'm
goes
telling
home
you,
to a
I come
toxic
from the
environment.
environments, Mr. Clyde. I come from these environments, and those few talks that I had with mentors, they did help. You cannot say your contributions
Well,
don't
see,
matter
but
if
no,
you're not
but
contributing.
now you're feeding into Noble's point when he said,
I'm not. What
"Why
I'm
the
saying,
other people
but we
can't
need
do it?"
more of it, though. We need more of it. You're getting on here on the air, literally saying that you don't feel the need. You don't feel like it's required. Black women need to apologize. Black women need to do this. You need to just literally do your due diligence, and whoever don't fall in line with that, don't fall in line with it. If there's going to be some black women that fall behind, but there's also going to be some black men that fall behind. People are going to fall behind, but if
There's
you're
so
not
many boys and
contributing,
girls club mentorships, big brothers out here, and you know who's not in them? Black kids. Black kids. Can you honestly say, from en masse, from where you came from, because I mean, I don't know where you come from, but let's just get the good faith assumption. Can you say en masse that these women are taking their children to these mentorship programs?
first of all, I just literally said in the beginning when I first got on with Noble that I've been teaching. I'm only 22, so I can't even speak for the woman that's 30 and 40. But I'm only at my 22-year-old young age. I literally been teaching children, and I'm seeing black women showing up, dropping
Well,
their children off.
as a teacher, do you get the support you need from the parents when it comes to their children?
To be honest, not fully all the time because parents do.
I gotta tell you, any teacher will, if you ask about 10 teachers that I guarantee about 9 of them will say hell no.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you're wrong. There are a lot of parents. Okay, let me be just 100% transparent. We already just acknowledge that people are having children young. So a lot of my students' parents are 18 years old, 17 years old. You think a 17-year-old is worried about taking their children to a PTA meeting and seeing what their kid needs? Heck no. Was you worried about that at 17? No, the baby father dipped out. He ain't responsible no more. So again, while we keep talking about these points, you have to acknowledge the whole tree. No one's saying black men are the root cause of all the problems. That's not what he said in the video. He's literally saying that if you're going to have a collective mindset, then help. If you're going to have an individualist mindset, then don't help. Keep making your six figures. Marry your woman across the country. Marry your Latino queen or your YT
So
queen.
so
But
he
if you're
didn't
going to be a
say that
collective,
black men, the reason why Pookie and Ray Ray exist because black men. He never said that because black men are not coming back. He never said
you're
that.
looking at one thing he said in the video. I'm talking about the whole talking point was about a collective mindset, Mr. Clyde. He's talking about a collective
And
mindset.
I'm telling you, you can't say collective when you're only blaming one party.
He didn't just blame one party. He literally
He
was
no,
speaking
he
on the
just
women.
listen to. Did you listen to the part? And I'm letting you know this is what he said. He said the guy I don't know who the podcast guy's name, but I think it was the one with the braids. Said, "Hey, I'm building myself up. I'm becoming a better person. We're doing this. We're doing that." And he said, "Is it my fault that she picked the Pookie and Ray Ray?" He said, "Yes, it is your fault because she had the choice of the Pookie and Ray Ray. Black men are not coming back to do this." So you're not thinking of collective. What people need to understand and people need to realize about Umar, and I think Umar has great points, but it's important to know Umar has an image problem right now. So what's going on? Because people are starting to question that school's authenticity. So what's happening right now is he's going to start appealing to women. He's going to start appealing to, especially to black women, because if you know anything about these apps, if you know anything about the social media space or even social, if you appeal to black women will guard you like it's gold, even though it's bullshit that you're doing. They will guard you like it's gold. Derek Jackson, you can see that all the time. He did nothing but bullshit, and black women are still guarding him. Umar has an image problem right now, so now he's want to weaponize black women to be on his
Can
side.
we just pay attention to the things that we were
No, because
saying?
this
Like you're
is
looking into
important.
his
Because
personal
this is
life.
important. It's important to know that this is not sound advice coming from a person with good faith. It's coming from a person that's trying to pander to you in order to get your acceptance.
No, nobody can pander to
Umar
grown.
also said
Nobody
something
can
about,
pander to grown adults. We're grown adults. We can have the gift of discernment to know that everything a person say is not going to be
well,
exactly how they
hey,
live.
if you had the gift
But
of discernment, Derek Jackson shouldn't be here, right?
okay,
Derek Jackson shouldn't be making money if that's the
the
truth,
the
right?
the point of the video he was saying
No,
was that
because when it comes to our women, and I'm not saying all, when it comes to our women, anyone who's kissing their ass, they will go to bat for them. They will go to bat for them. And we see it on this app. all the time.
Okay, this is just an app, sir. I'm talking about
Okay,
in real
I'm just
life.
giving you an example that we all can pull from. If you
All right,
want to
hold
go
on, y'all.
in
Time out.
society, we can.
Before y'all get too deep into it, I want to give Drew and DJ Claw an opportunity to speak, and then I'm gonna end this live, and then I'm gonna restart a whole nother live because it's some crazy stuff that I just saw, and we gotta talk about it. So Drew, go ahead and speak, and then DJ Claw, go ahead and speak, and Queen, if they say anything that you want to rebuttal to, I'm gonna give you an opportunity to do that, and then I'm gonna restart. But go ahead, Drew. Thank you for waiting patiently, brother.
Hey, no problem, man. I was enjoying the conversation between everyone, and yeah, Clyde and Queen make some awesome points,
Mm-hmm.
and we just have to, and you did too, Noble. And I'm more on where you are as well as when it comes to um, protecting your investment that you built, you gain. You pretty much exercise a sort of individualism, which is good for everybody. Be honest with you, and we got to look at the community as a whole. Red line communities are not black communities. We got to stop calling red line communities black communities. These communities are nothing but projects. They are called projects for a reason because the entire the entire structure of a red line community is to gather a certain group of people into one area and just experiment, do things to see what works, what doesn't work, in order to keep it from spreading out into their society. So you did the right thing, Queen, by getting yourself and anybody else that gets themselves out of that line, out of that red line community, because there's really nothing anybody can do in these communities because these are already systematically set up for certain structures. So if anything, the best thing, all of us who have gotten out of the red line and made something of ourselves, we are what's called leading, keyword leading, by example. We are getting the heck out. Now it's even to a more major factor of where if you do have, I'm not trying to get into the passport thing, but let's take it on a global level. You're now getting out of the toxic culture of America and going to somewhere else where it's less toxic. We do this all the time. It even goes back to 500 years in slavery. You have the field group would go to the house. Now we're pitting against each other. Now you got the house against the field. And then you had the Southerns go to the North. Now you got the Northerns against the Southerns. We do this to each other. This is all generational. These are generational curses we have in our own unique culture because Black Americans have culture. We have developed culture as soon as we landed in 1719 something on this land. We started creating our own culture because we went through our own struggle outside of what any other ethnic group in the world has been through. So be proud of the culture we have. And us talking about it, us being loud about the issue, about all these conversations are beautiful because at the end of the day, we have our own culture that we can be proud of and we just build from within. So all of this is normal activity, even in your own house, in your own family. When you get away from toxic parts of your family, what do they start doing? They start talking trash about you. They start saying all kinds of stuff. All they're saying is that, come on back. We miss you. You're doing something. We could use it. So what Dr. Umar is advocating is not for stepfatherhood. He's advocating for more father figures to come back to help develop these kids and help work with, yes, our women, not all of our women. And see, we got to start learning how to use the word some and most. These words are important for a reason because the reason why we're having this conversation is because Dr. Umar forgot to do that. He forgot to say some and most in his statement. He just went straight to black men. And then people and people try to play semantics on it and be like, oh, well, you know good and well he wasn't talking about all black men. No, he forgot to use those sorts of words, and you have every right to feel some type of way about it for those who did get themselves once again out of that red line community mentality got themselves out, and know that going back into that community is a very stressful struggle. It's time consuming, and it's very detrimental to your mental health. See, we also, when we want to focus on mental health, it starts with our mental health first. Our health, our wealth will only be as good as our health. So all of these factors that Dr. Umar was talking about, these are all mental health situations that all of us somewhat go through. When it comes to spending, we are a community of $1 trillion. Imagine if we all took our mindset and said, you know what, we're gonna take our $1 trillion and go to a whole nother country, all of us, and we're gonna build our own stuff, take all our resources, all our education, or whatever, or we're gonna take our $1 trillion and put it somewhere in America outside of a red line community. If we took that $1 trillion and did that as a community, we'd be all right. But we know that's pretty much impossible
Hey, Drew,
because
really
once
quick, Drew,
again,
really quick. I want to
go ahead.
buzz you because Clyde had spoke on this, and I did see a clip of this part of the interview. And Drew, I've even heard you talk about this in the past. And Queen, I don't know if you saw this clip, but Dr. Umar in this same interview was talking about like the economics of the black people and Queen. um it was like $30 billion a year that like black women spend on their aesthetics, their cosmetics, surgeries. $30 billion, Queen. So it's like if the average black man and black woman is making between 42 and 45K a year, I find it very interesting that somehow we're able to spend $30 billion, or women are able to spend $30 billion on aesthetics. I just find that to be very interesting. He was like, "What?" And and I'm gonna be quiet so Drew continue. He was like, 15 million spent on children's colognes. Yeah, he said all of this stuff. He was like, imagine if y'all stopped investing all that money into that and, like Drew said, put it here, there, and yonder. So I just find that to be very interesting. I wasn't aware of that. That was very interesting to me. Go ahead, Drew.
And it all goes back to mental health. It's all about. You can look at Malcolm X clip. Who taught you to hate yourself? Who taught you that? You see what I'm saying? It goes back to us, just all this system that's been pounding and pounding, pounding on us for centuries. And I'll speak on just a personal thing of what I am doing. Like I said, I have no. I'll put it like this: I have no qualms with a brother who came out of an toxic environment, did better for himself, and not looking back to that toxic environment, or he encourages those to also get out of the toxic environment. Then I can work with you, because we got to understand also, we can't help people who don't want to be helped.
Thank you.
We got to remember that everybody don't want to be helped. Sometimes we can go in there and try to help in the hood, and we're getting gunfire. We got to be careful on where we go on these, on some of these turfs. So at the end of the day, and I know we're talking about the red line communities, but we have to also remember that it's a lot of us in this nation. It's over 42 million of us. It's only a small percentage that are still trapped in these red line communities that are out creating black communities. See, the real black communities are created. I can show you some black communities in my area where folks have land, they're building homes, and they're sending their kids to the best school. Black folk. You see what I'm saying? Now there is no red line in it. These folks have it, and they're also creating credit unions. They're doing all kinds of stuff. They're doctors, dentists. They're doing their thing, but we seem to forget about that. And so the whole thing is this. Me personally, as well, I'm one of those guys who I found myself working with kids, because I teach kids how to invest in the stock market all the way from like 13 to 18. Because what I want, I've been doing this for 10 years. So I want kids to already be millionaires or dang near millionaires by the time they're in their mid 20s. And I'm showing them how to do that. And these are all young black kids. So their moms are bringing their kids to me. Also, when I was in the financial investment business, I was called the Star Trek Enterprise. I was the only young black investment that represented Georgia, North Carolina, and South Carolina at a table full of all these guys with all these wealth. And they would call me the Star Trek Enterprise because I would go into hoods that no other man would go in before. I would go places where no man would go before. I would be in the hood, in red line communities, talking with parents, helping them get life insurance for their kids that's out there wilding out. Because I'll tell them, I say, look, your kids out here living a wild life. You're gonna need some financial backing for it. So I have parents on that. Or if you want to just have a better lifestyle for your kid, let me that's like a joke. But if you want to have a better lifestyle for yourself or your kids, your family, you got to get into life insurance. You got to get into investments and everything. But I'm in these areas where nobody's talking to them about this stuff. I'm trying to build a firm right now. Get a firm built out in the area, in a predominantly black area, so people can come and talk about investments and stuff. The black community can. So I'm doing my part. I'm doing this, but I can't. I know that it's just certain parts of the city I just can't do that in. We all got to get out and get into these areas, and then we can work and do what we do, because there's no room to breathe in those areas. And Queen, you are, and I love your story, because you are a perfect example, especially at 22. That's awesome. I see big potential in you, because at 22, you said coming out of them, and I know how Miami get down. I know how Miami in the hood get down. So you coming out of these areas in Florida, you coming out of there and going to a whole nother state and to a great city. Atlanta's a good city. To do what you're doing, I commend you, because that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. So for Dr. Umar to say that we have to be responsible for what's going on there, it's only so much we can work with. We have to understand that we can't work in certain parts of the community. We have to get our people out, and then we can branch out, and then we can be productive. But right now in that area, it's just tough, because the whole system is built to keep it where it's at. And the only time it's going to really change is when everybody collectively in those areas learn to wake up out of it and get out of this trap of thinking that this is the way of life. And also, and one more thing, and then we have to go back to what's influencing us. We have to look at our music. And me being Gen X, I know how it gets now. I watched hip hop grow into what it is from day one. And hip hop, for some reason, used to be a music of message, a music of black positivity, a music of eye opening structure for the young black youth. All of a sudden, it just changed. It went to this Pookie or Get Money, You Broke, Black Man, all this terrible stuff that is glorified. And what's crazy is that it developed something in our culture, in our community. These guys are millionaires and billionaires for calling our women the worst, treating our women the worst, showing images of our women in the worst. But when, after years of this, and it became a generational issue, when now there's a group of men that says, because of this culture and the women embracing this culture, it created something in them that we don't like, which into much like a masculine nature. All of a sudden, when men are saying, because of this, it put a masculine nature in you, all of a sudden that's where you want to draw the line. You got to look at it like, we're not out here calling you bees and trying to get you on pills and trying to make you, do drugs and put our thumbs in your, you know what? You know what I'm saying? We ain't trying to do all that. We are men that's trying to get you to respect yourself and be respectful. Like, let's say if I do give you a chance and I'm considered the square guy and I try to give you a chance, I deserve that respect. I deserve to be the leader. I deserve this. I don't need to be getting the attitude if I needed a sandwich. You see what I'm saying? But it seems to be something developed from this rough culture, this rough nature that we have in ourselves from listening to all this crazy music and a couple other things, embracing this toxic culture, is that we can't, when it comes to black love, we can't treat each other right. When we actually want to do black love, we don't know how to do it, because we have interjected this crazy energy and this crazy thought process in our systems to where we can't really love each other. So the men that do want to be romantic, the black men who do want to be romantic, the black men who do want to love, aren't getting it from our women, because we all grew up in this just crazy toxic culture. Now that's why you find these brothers going elsewhere to get that love. get that femininity that they say. You see what I'm saying? So it's a lot of factors in why we're having this conversation. I think it's healthy, and I know it may not reflect in the real world because we only see so many people. But when you get a large group of people in one, which TikTok provides, this is when you really hear the stuff. And then you look at the results, you look at the stats. There's this charts of everybody that's in this group that's listening. Look up the ethics chart of income or success, and you would see that you got Indians and all these other ethnic groups, which is another historical issue, but I'm not going to get into that. But all these other ethnic groups that are wealthy, the wealthiest ethnic families, whatever, and you'll see us at the dead at the bottom, very last bottom. I think we're like $32,000 a family. And the reason why, there's so many factors to that. And this, and not because we're not having these conversations. We're not putting these, um, we're not putting these issues in the spotlight. So when we start focusing and looking at the money, because I like to look at the money. What is this bringing? How is this economically affecting us? And when we're sitting here dead last and family, and we and our ancestors helped build this country, and we're still sitting here dead last. This is when we got to start looking at these factors and really wake up and start working together. And also focusing on these things would actually get right. It is immigrants, but like I said, I ain't gonna get into it because we're talking about Umar. But if we look at it and we all work together on it, it will motivate more people that's out, that's have made it out, have become more successful to work with it. But we need our women. We need our women to work with us, and they need to understand that for us that are successful, us black men that are successful, yeah, you are going to have to take our leadership. You are going to have to let us lead because we know what we're doing. That's all it is. It's not about you not having anything to add or having nothing to contribute, because that's a dang lie. I work with sisters all the time in events, and I don't think I'd be where I am today without having sisters work with me. I love working with my sisters because they bring so many unique ideas. But when it comes down to getting it done, all right, Drew, you got it. You see what I'm saying? So, yes, we have these conversations, and it may not seem like it's big in our personal lives, but it is really big overall in the community, and it shows. It shows big time. And for Dr. Umar, but we got to stop. We got to stop. And I think what Dr. Umar did, he just added more to this finger pointing, name calling, belittling part that we do amongst each other when one group doesn't do something that the other groups agree with. And a lot of brothers have a problem with this. It's just because, look, I'm not less of a black man. I'm not less of a person because I chose not to do this. You see what I'm saying? And we need to stop looking at each other like that. We all make mistakes. We all do our thing, but we also have a right to protect our peace. Every single one of you, you have a right to protect your peace.
I think you're right, brother. I think you said a lot of stuff, and I consumed a lot of what you said, and I really do believe that you do have some good points. And I just want to point out, no one's excluding the accountability of the terrible men. Let's make that abundantly clear. No one's excusing them. But if we're gonna address an issue, I believe in addressing the issue in its totality. And if we can call out Pookies and Ray Rays, we can call out the women who reward them. So it's a two-way street of blame. No one's not is less guilty than the other. But we still, at some point, gonna have to realize that there's contributing factors to this. Now we know, as I think somebody said it on the council, we know that two-parent households doesn't always guarantee you that you'll be a productive member of society. There's our Pookies and Ray Rays out here that come from two-parent households. But I guarantee, if his behavior is not being fed by our community, and it was brought up in rap, if we stop consuming rap, I guarantee it will stop. Back in the day, women had men wearing powder wigs and stockings to talk to them. So I know for a damn sure fact that if women say, hey, look, we're closing up shop until you guys become productive members of society, I know for a fact it'll happen. So just so to sit here and pretend like you don't have a dog in a race is one of the reasons why it keeps going on. I know accountability is this terrible, terrible pill to swallow, but I guarantee you, you get this nice little nugget, sweet center of accountability called self-reflection. And when you get that self-reflection, you can see what you did that made you miss all those red flags. Because we see them all the time in these Pookies and Ray Rays. Don't have a job, ain't taking care of his other kids, don't respect women, misogynist, all this other stuff. We can see that, but yet it's like we just go blind to it when it's time. Now, if you want to have sex with Pookie and Ray Ray, I'm not gonna sit here and say don't do it or don't judge you or anything like that. I'm not gonna go in that market with you. But I will say you don't have to bring a child in this world. And if you do bring a child in this world, you owe it to that child to be the best person you possibly can be. And that starts with, hey, look, if dad's gone, I'm going to put some sort of male role model in his life. And it doesn't have to be the guy who making the millions or like Drew who makes the big money. It could be a simple man that all he does, work, go home, take care of his family, and just a natural member of society. We need to stop allowing the athletes and allowing the rappers and stuff to raise our kids just because they got a little bit of change. We need to stop that. We need to start going with people's character instead of what's in their pockets.
Definitely. Hey, Drew and Clyde, thank y'all. Thank y'all so much, brothers. I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna drop y'all. Hey, after this live, like I said, I'm gonna restart it with a way more controversial topic. A lot of people are gonna have a lot to say. I'm gonna drop y'all. I'm gonna let Queen have her last words. Y'all can come on the next one if y'all want. Queen, thank you for being here. Queen, what's your last word you want to say pertaining to this topic in this discussion?
Y'all said a lot, so I thank you for having me. I'm gonna let you go start your other live. I thank you for having me, Mr. Noble.
All right, thank you. I appreciate you. You have a good day. All right.
You too. Thank
All
you.
right.